Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing good. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Share it with your friends guys. If you are have any trading buddies or any people remotely interested in trading, share it with them as well. It does really help out the channel. But guys, hope everyone's doing well. If you're interested in the AI powered signal service, I'm going to drop a link to the community Telegram for Zentrix. You can check out the Telegram, more information about the project and what's to come as well. And if you are interested to check out the signals, make sure you head over to the pinned messages at the top of the Telegram channel, and you'll be able to find the pinned message for the link for the signals, which is at the bottom. So if you're interested in the signals, join the Telegram, go to the pinned messages, go to the bottom. You'll be able to see the link for the signal service there. But guys, welcome back to another stream. What is up? What is up? Hope everyone's well. Raphael, check US oil longs. We'll take a look at oil, no problem. Fred, gold shorts, okay. We'll have a look. GJ, Euro, Aussie, and UJ, okay. Bunch of pairs to get through there. Poppy, what's up? Welcome. Hope you are doing good. What's up, Ivan? Welcome to the stream. Good morning. So, as always, guys, we'll go through the USD side of things first. Take a look at the dollar, USD majors, gold, and silver. And then we'll take a look at some requests. Any pairs you guys are looking at, let me know. Any particular time frames as well, let me know. So, yeah, I can be a bit more of use to you. But we'll start with the DXY as always, which hasn't really done much since we last spoke. I said I'm kind of waiting for some momentum before jumping on the bandwagon of dollar bulls. I'm bullish myself on USD, so I'm looking to buy it, but not quite yet. I did say I didn't like the way price retraced on Friday with NFP. It was a very aggressive bearish candle, so that has put me off buying it straight away. We are just about holding on to support in this area. Prior resistance, of course, turn into support. And potentially from here, we could turn around and see some upside. I was speaking about this consolidation yesterday. I said if we can see some momentum, maybe that will invite me into a position, or maybe shorting euro, shorting Aussie dollar or pound. Either one of those USD pairs I quite like. So I can see the possibility to get long on dollar now. Possibly this is the next higher low in comparison to this low. Maybe we're forming the higher low here to continue. So potentially that is a possibility. But because of how aggressive we were on Friday, I can see a strong likelihood of us coming a lot lower before we do put that next higher low in. I'm looking towards this area here as well. So I've got a couple of areas I'm interested in buying USD. This area being one of them, which I need to see a bit more evidence before I do start to look for entries in this area. And if we do come lower, great. I think this is also a nice place for a buy. Brief area of demand did give us a really strong break to the upside. So if price would be kind enough to tap into that area, I do think we're likely to see a bit of a bounce. So the thesis is looking to buy the dollar, just waiting for a good opportunity to do so. A couple of areas I'm keeping an eye on. Nothing quite here just yet. Pretty much a flat dollar for the week so far. So I'm being careful about jumping into any opportunities just yet. If we go take a look at Euro USD, which is again pretty much the inverse. Euro to me looks pretty flat as well. And again, the reason why I'm not jumping into any shorts just yet with Euro is because of how aggressive that candle was on Friday, how aggressive that move to the upside was on Friday after NFP. That did really put me off looking to short euro immediately, because I've been pretty bearish. That was a lovely bearish leg, taking out these lows. I've been bearish. I still am very bearish with euro. I'm only looking to short the pair. But I want to see my retracements be a bit more corrective, a bit slower. They don't have to be perfect, but just a little bit slower, a little bit more corrective, at least more corrective than the bearish leg or the bullish leg we just seen. And then I'll be a bit more confident to jump into some shorts. In this case, we were arguably even more aggressive on the way up than we were on the way down in the past few candles there. So that's made me quite cautious. I've talked about this area as a nice place to short euro from, and I still stand by that. If euro can get all the way up there, I think that'll be a great place for a short. Potentially see the next lower high form 1, 2, 3, and then hopefully we can get a nice swing to the downside. So I still really like this area. Of course, at the moment, looks like we're still respecting some support and resistance here in a similar situation to what the DXY is doing, and potentially we do see some downside from here. We do turn around. That's a possibility. But I need to see momentum come in. I need to see some bearish strength come in. Maybe a strong candle closing like that. That will convince me, okay, resistance is holding. I'll happily take a short there and hopefully ride momentum back into lows. And of course, I want to see something similar on the DXY as well. But at the moment in time, not quite seeing the momentum just yet. Still quite flat. And the possibility for a bigger pullback is still there. So I'm going to stay on my toes. A couple of areas I'm looking too short from. It's just up to price to now invite me into the trade and give me the signal. At the moment, nothing there yet. Pound USD, kind of a similar situation, just kind of waiting for price to give me the signal to short. This is really the area which I want to see price get towards before jumping into any opportunities. You've got some very nice support once, twice, looking for that to act as resistance. Did that briefly as resistance over there, but would be nice to see it act again. Of course, if I expand to the higher time frames, we've got some lovely bearish structure recently. Of course, price has been quite bullish with the higher highs and higher lows, but that's been put to an end with this lovely break of structure, clearing out those lows, putting in another lower high. So again, the plan is just looking for the next lower high for the next move to the downside. So very, very simple stuff here with pound USD. It's just about finding that pullback and getting to some more shorts. So if I drop to the 4-hour chart, I like pound USD a little bit more than euro because we're a bit more corrective. Yes, we did have that very aggressive candle on the 4-hour chart, but it's not as aggressive as it was with euro in the grand scheme of things, and we're seeing quite corrective price action afterwards, so I quite like that. So if we can stay corrective, maybe work our way up back to resistance, that'll be brilliant, and see what type of price action we can get. Strong breakout, nice stop loss above the highs, and hopefully ride that back to lows and maybe further as well. So I quite like what I'm seeing with pound. Not quite there yet in terms of the entry or in terms of the location. I still want to see a bit more upside before I jump into anything. But I can see this one starting to develop quite nicely. So keeping a close eye on pounds. Just looking for more shorts and a push back to prior lows. Dollar CAD, of course, another USD pair which is kind of doing what the other USD pairs are doing. Kind of just flat really after that aggressive reaction on NFP. Dollar CAD, in fairness, is trading at a pretty nice level, so keeping a close eye on this area. You've got prior support over here, resistance over there, resistance over there. Then recently, of course, we've just seen a lovely break to the upside. Now this is going to be acting as support. So potentially we could see price come into this area, react, and see some upside, and basically a break and retest of this range. Price was consolidating, finally broke out. Is this going to be a successful break and retest? Potentially. At the moment, not really seeing the momentum required for that. We had a little bit of upside there on Tuesday yesterday. But I wasn't quite convinced, especially looking at what the DXY was doing. So I wasn't quite convinced of that. We've come back down into support, which again, nothing wrong with. As long as price stays above this area, I stay bullish. If I do see price crack underneath, I wouldn't necessarily be bearish, but I probably wouldn't be looking for any opportunities. Maybe at that point we do something like this and we see a bearish continuation. So I'd want to see dollar CAD hold support here. I want to see some more wigs. I want to see some more rejection and strong candles closing to the upside. And that could be a nice trade there for dollar CAD in the next couple of days. Push back to highs and maybe a bit further as well. So dollar CAD, just looking at simple break and retest. Let's see if we can hold the support level at 1.376. And if we do, I think there could be some lovely buy opportunities in the next coming days. Aussie dollar, very bearish on this one. Of course, we had the lovely breakout of the ascending channel. And since that has happened, I've been pretty bearish on the pair. I'm looking for us to return back to this area. When price does break out of an ascending channel or descending channel, I'm always looking for price to come to the origin, the start of that channel. There's always a likelihood we do see that. So in my book, there's still a bit more downside to go for us to get there. I like the fact that we've kind of broken through support here as well. And as long as price just doesn't break back within the channel, I'm bearish. I'm looking for a lower high. I'm looking for a continuation. If I do see price, give us a strong candle closure back inside of that range, back inside that channel, yeah, if things get a little bit awkward, I probably would just stay away from the pair, to be honest, because it just kind of looks like a big mess at that point. I want clarity of my trades. If I'm not really seeing a clear picture, then there's probably no point in me looking to trade it. So yeah, Aussie dollar, we've seen some upside over the past few days. This to me just looks like price coming back for a retest of this area. So this is kind of where I'm looking to short from, and then hopefully catch a continuation. Drop into the 4-hour chart. We've seen some bullish momentum over the past few hours, which I was kind of talking about yesterday. I said maybe this is like the first reaction. Maybe some early sellers are getting involved here. Potentially could go and run to the upside, take out the early sellers, and then actually see the move later on. So that's kind of what I'm banking on now. Coming to a nice area of supply here. I think this is a nice level of confluence, 0.65. So keeping a close eye on Aussie dollar. This is the area which I expect us to see some resistance and see some downside. Nothing quite there yet, but keeping a close eye. New Zealand dollar, don't really like the pair for this one. Again, a slight ascending channel. We broke out of that. To be honest, you could probably look at this in terms of like just a big range, really. I think they both make sense, to be honest, so I'm not a big fan of this pair. I'm looking at it in a similar light to Aussie dollar. We've broken through support, basically looking for us to find resistance here and continue lower. I'm not the big fan of this trade because we're running straight into support. It's not too far away, so in terms of the risk to reward, it's not looking as good as it could be. Aussie dollar, we've got a lot more distance to work with, so I'm a bigger fan of the setup there than with this one. They're very similar pairs, so if Aussie dollar does drop 8-9 times out of 10, you probably can see New Zealand dollar drop as well. But yeah, I'm just not a big fan of this pair. Arguably, it's a big consolidation, and when things are messy like this, I try to stay away. There's a slight ascending channel which I've marked on here, which we've broken out of, hence why I'm expecting more downside. But truthfully, it's just a very choppy market right now. I think if we can find resistance here, there might be some nice intraday shorts, but I probably wouldn't look for anything more than that. So I'd keep an eye around 0.594 for some rejection, probably like a 4H time frame, and then see if I can ride it back to the lows. That would be my best opportunity. But Aussie is pretty much the same setup and a slightly kind of higher quality situation. So I'd rather put my eggs in that basket there, but I am bearish for New Zealand dollar. It's another USD pair. I'm pretty bullish on the dollar, so I do fancy more downside with this one. Ultimately, as with gold, yeah, gold's been interesting, bit back and forth. Looks like we found a bit of resistance in this area. I was talking about this level as an okay place to short. I said there's a couple levels to keep an eye on. This being the big one, of course, that's the high of the range, which we're kind of stuck in for gold. Respected it once, massive wick to the upside, twice, third time, a fourth time. So this is clearly the level which gold is paying a lot of attention to, around 34.30. So that's really the area, if you're looking to sell, that would make a lot of sense to sell from. This is a nice level of resistance, not as significant. I did mention this on the weekly analysis. I said if you're looking to short from here, I'll keep it short and sweet. I wouldn't look for a big move. Potentially could happen, of course, I can't see into the future, but I know that if I'm looking for a big swing, I'd rather look for it up here than here. If I do get short here, it's more likely me trying to bank on a reaction rather than price completely selling off, which may happen, but I wouldn't necessarily bank on that. And of course, in terms of support, we've got a really juicy area here, which price is respecting on a couple of occasions pretty well, almost a third time over there. So essentially, gold is still very much in this ranging conditions. Again, the plan is looking to sell high and buy low. Just keep it really simple and when things are ranging. Yes, there's a level here which might give us some shorts in the meantime, but again, I do wonder about how far. I think maybe these areas could make for good targets, but I probably wouldn't try and push it past that. It's just a very choppy market right now, so personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the price action for gold. If you're looking for some bigger swings, I'll probably wait for a push back to the highs or the lows here and try and look for reactions off those levels. So yeah, not the biggest fan of gold, just continuing to move sideways really. Yes, we've seen some momentum here and there, but it's just within the range, so I can't really read too much into it. As for silver, a lot of bullish momentum. I'm still kind of looking for a push down. I'm not convinced that we're going to just rally to the upside. We could do, but we had this really impulsive, aggressive, bullish move. We had a pretty sharp retracement after that, had another fairly aggressive move, and then price completely fell on its face there pretty much. So this momentum kind of does put me off the fact of looking for a continuation for silver straight away. I'm still bullish long term, but I think we can retrace a bit more before we do push on. So I spoke about a couple of areas that shorts could look good. I spoke about this area, and I spoke about this area here as well. This area didn't really provide too much resistance. We were stalling into it. Didn't really see much momentum, to be honest. We were kind of quite flat here. Just a lot of consolidation, so that didn't really do too much in terms of a reaction. We since broke through, and now we're kind of moving sideways as we do approach that second area of supply. So if we could see a more convincing reaction here, maybe a nice bearish engulfing candle on the 4-hour chart, nice shift of momentum, that could end up being a nice short opportunity for a push back into the lows here around 36.4. So yeah, going forward with silver. I am pretty bullish with this. One long term. But in terms of the short term move, I'm basically looking for a continuation of that bearish leg. If I whip out the old fib from the high to the low, we've just about worked our way into the 0.5, 0.618 region. So there's some nice confluence in this area. So yeah, silver, I do fancy a bit more downside. I'm not quite sold on the buys just yet. Yes, long term, I'm very bullish. In fact, there's a really big level down here, which I'd love to see the retest of. If price can come back there, I think that would be a great place for a buy. We had a lovely breakout not too long ago. Haven't come back for a retest yet. So if we can do that, I think from like a swing trade, even a position trade, that would be a nice place to get long from. But in terms of the intraday situation, not quite convinced of the buys just yet. This bullish leg still looks quite corrective to me. I think we are due a stab lower. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with silver and the USD pairs for now. Okay, so I say I'll go through oil longs for Raphael, GJ, Euro, Aussie, UJ as well. We'll take a look at. Trev just went through silver. Let me know if there's a particular time frame you want me to take a look at. Ivan, Aussie yen buy, 4-hour shifted, bullish now. Okay, we'll take a look at that as well. Waiting for retracement to get better risk reward. Okay. Inverted head shoulders on the daily. Okay, I'll take a look at that, Ivan. Danny, good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Campbell, what's up, my man? I hope you're doing good. Love the energy, my man. Hope all is well. All's doing good, my man. I hope everything is doing good with you. And how Miko Day keeps liquidity away. Beautiful stuff. Yeah, sure thing. No problem. In mind, finding pattern 2 is a bit troubling. Yeah, I mean, again, the idea of the patterns is not to trade all of them and trade all of them equally. You know, potentially you might just focus on pattern 1 and literally forget the others. The reason for all the patterns was to show you kind of different patterns to look at in the market and different opportunities the market can provide. But the idea was never to, you have to be looking to trade all of them. Actually, the idea, which I was mentioning towards the end of the course, was to actually just focus on a set few of them and get good at that. I mean, there's some patterns which I don't trade frequently, to be honest, my most traded pattern is the break and retest. Very simple, common pattern, but it happens time and time again in the market and very effective if done well. So yeah, I wouldn't, if you're not finding a lot of pattern two, that's fine. That's completely fine. You can just kind of ignore it, to be honest. Trading is not about doing everything well. It's about doing a few things really good. So whatever kind of, situation patterns you find, you can trade well, or you got good understanding with, you can spot well, focus on that, because those patterns happen throughout pretty much all time frames. So you don't have to be looking for everything, but I understand. Anyway, let's go through oil. Got a bunch of pairs to go through. We'll go for oil, and then we'll probably go through some yen pairs as well. Take a look at Euro Aussie. I think that was mentioned too. So in terms of oil, oil longs, potentially, we're still trading at a really big level of support. So I'm still bullish on oil as long as this area does remain. And as of right now, that is still the case. If we were to break through this, and of course that bullish bias will go down the bin really. But as of right now, we are still just about holding support, and essentially we are kind of just ranging here. More or less equal highs there, more or less equal lows down here. And I can just pretty much remove this out of the way, we know it's there. So essentially oil is just ranging. So buying low and selling high makes the most sense, and especially buying low knowing that we're trading in that weekly zone makes even more sense as well. So I kind of like the buys. Probably would like price to push a little bit further down, just so we're kind of testing this area a little bit, because ideally I want my stop loss in this area, not there. There I'm kind of at risk a little bit. Yes, I might miss the trade, but at the same time I'll probably look like a donut if I do get stopped here with price coming back to test the level. So I would like to see a bit more downside before jumping into any longs on oil. But we are in a healthy zone. We just zoomed out, looking at the weekly chart. We are trading at a big level, which if we do hold, not necessarily just expecting a push to the other side of the range, but expecting a push that could break out and take us back to highs over here. So we're at a level where we could see a really big turnaround. So the idea with oil, I would say, now that we're kind of just ranging, is kind of just either looking to buy a low at the support level, at the low of the range, or waiting for a clear-cut kind of breakout and some pullback opportunities afterwards to take some buys, right back to the high at 76, 77 and beyond. So yeah, oil I would be very bullish. Like I said, as long as we're above support on that weekly time frame, I stay bullish, and we're still doing that. So still very bullish for oil. I like to get my stop loss probably around the 64 area. So if I could see a slightly deeper push, that would be nice to really come and test that low. If I miss out on that move, then I'd probably wait for the breakout and some pullbacks afterwards. But yeah, oil to me kind of just flat, kind of ranging. So the idea is kind of, can we keep buying the lows until proven otherwise? If price was to suddenly break to the downside like so, then of course I would kind of back away. At that point, I wouldn't be bullish anymore. And if we can see a strong weekly close below, I'd probably be looking for some shorts and then break and retest. But for now, yeah, longs look good. This is kind of where I'd focus my efforts. We'll take a look at GJ, UJ, Euro Aussie, and then we'll take a look at Aussie Yen as well. So in terms of pound yen, we have seen a bit of upside for the yen pairs recently. Yen has weakened a little bit. In terms of GJ, I would still be pretty bearish. I'm not quite convinced with the buys. First of all, the trend has been really corrective on the way up. So this is not like we're seeing a really healthy trend where momentum is flying. So I would give the trend the benefit of doubt. In this case, because of how corrective we've been, I'm not quite sold on this trend, especially with the fact that we've had a really aggressive sell-off. And of course, taking into consideration that we just smashed into a very strong level of resistance and reacted off that as well. So I'm not convinced about the buys. I did say I was looking to buy GJ, but that was on the condition that we did break above the highs here. I said once we do break through this, then I would be looking for a push all the way up here and hopefully a nice trend would form. Of course, we didn't get that. Price broke to the downside, so I'm pretty bearish on GJ. And again, still looking for the retest of this area for a short. If we can pull back into this zone, see some rejection, maybe a nice double top, I think that's a great place for a short and some more downside. Basically looking for the first lower high. With the high over there, consolidation, then the break, now looking for the low high and the continuation. So yeah, I'm pretty bearish on GJ. I know we're seeing some momentum at the moment, but I'm not convinced by the buys at all. I know we're just about holding on to some support on our left, but that is not enough to convince me that, okay, we're about to suddenly swing back to the upside like nothing just happened. Yeah, I'm pretty bearish on GJ. A lot of momentum there, simply looking for a pullback and a continuation of that. That is still very much the game plan. As for dollar yen, since we're on the yen topic, I still quite like the shorts up here as well. Prior resistance, price smashed through that and then really aggressively reversed. I quite like the idea of price coming back to retest this area for a short. Again, long term, well, not really long term, but on the 4-hour chart, there's a slight uptrend here. I'm not quite convinced that this trend's going to completely reverse and see a lot of upside. I do kind of look at the high time frames, and I'm looking at this kind of massive zone that price is starting to trade into. I do think longer term we might actually reverse completely, but that's a story for another day. I think more importantly, the price action now anyway, there is a slight uptrend here. So as we do approach areas like this, I do kind of wonder that we probably could rally here and probably see a pushback to highs even. So for dollar yen, I quite like the sells, but nothing long term. 146 I think is still a very important level of support. So if you could see a move into that area, some healthy rejection, I think that's still a smart place for a buy. But yeah, I quite like this level for a sell. 149 prior resistance, kind of like a manipulation there, break to the upside, break back down again. I think that's a smart place to look to short from, and I would expect price to end up back at support there. So going forward, I'm pretty bearish on dollar yen for probably the next few days if we can get a decent pullback. But if we do end up here first, then yeah, I would be bullish. So yeah, sells around 149, buys around 146 is kind of the plan. In terms of Euro Aussie, an interesting pair. I'm still pretty bearish with this one. I do think eventually price can make a move back into the lows down here. So that's still kind of my expectation for Euro Aussie. I'm just struggling to find an opportunity to really get a decent short on this one, to be honest. We found a lot of support here. Price rejected very well. We've rallied. Looks like we're kind of stuck at resistance here a little bit. Looks like we're slowly about to pick up some bearish momentum. A lot of failure to break through the highs, and now things are looking a little bit bearish. So we might be seeing another move back into the floor here. Maybe we get the breakout, maybe we don't. It's difficult to say. But the way I see Euro Aussie right now is kind of just rearranging. We create higher highs, had the spillover, the break of structure, and now we're kind of failing to see a continuation in either direction. So with the fact of us respecting resistance so well, yeah, I do fancy another swing back to the downside into 1.77, but then we go from there. Maybe we do get the breakout. If we do, then I'll speak a bit more about the shorts, because at that point, I'll be looking for a bit of a trend to form. Maybe a nice break and retest opportunity could set up, and then we could talk about some pullbacks, some lower highs, and maybe that big push into the lows. So that's a possibility there with Euro Aussie. At the moment, the conditions are quite flat, so showing respect to that. And if you do catch a short, I would say only a push to that level is kind of what I'd be looking for. Anything more is kind of a bit of a bonus. So yeah, Euro Aussie, very flat pair. I think we can see a move to the downside, especially with the 1, 2, 3 attempts to break the highs. Now it looks like momentum is starting to pick up to the downside, so I would fancy some more downside there for Euro Aussie, but I would be careful as we do have support not too far away there on the 4-hour chart. As for Aussie Yen, I've been pretty bearish with this one coming into the week, looking for more downside. It does look like momentum is picking up with the buyers. I wouldn't say I'm quite convinced with the buyers just yet. I know that the bigger move for Aussie Yen for me is still to the upside. I'm looking at the market structure as a whole. Look at this, lower lows and lower highs here, then suddenly higher highs and higher lows. I still do fancy something like this for Aussie Yen. This bearish move hasn't disrupted that market structure. I still do fancy more upside for Aussie Yen, but I'm not quite convinced with the buyers just yet. We've just had a really successful breakout of this consolidation, and with a lot of force as well. And yes, we're seeing some bullish momentum now, but I'm not quite convinced about the buyers just yet, especially as we do approach this area. I'm kind of still interested with the sells. I think price can have maybe one more move to the downside before maybe the buys well and truly come in. I like this range here. I think it would be nice to see price come back and really test this area. And from here, maybe we develop and then see the continuation. So I like the buys with Aussie yen. I do think that's the bigger move. I think you mentioned this inverse head and shoulder on the daily charts. The left head, right shoulder, and that's the neckline. And it kind of looks like price has tested the neckline, and possibly we might see price continue to the upside from that degree. I can see the logic there, but I'm not quite convinced, especially on the intraday level with the momentum we've seen there. I mean, that could be the case, but like I said, on an intraday level, I'm not kind of backing the buys just yet after seeing us spill over to the downside and us seeing a push back into resistance like that as well. I think longer term, yes, I do agree, but I think we're likely to have a deeper retracement before we do see the buys kick in. So yeah, Aussie yen, I can see the inverse head and shoulder on the daily. I do think longer term that inverse head and shoulder will give us more upside. But personally, I do think a deeper correction is still likely. Kind of looking for us to come more so into this area before we do push on, especially after such an aggressive reaction last week. So yeah, I can see where you're getting at. I can see the potential kind of retest and the shift, but I'm not quite sold. I'm still viewing this bullish move as a retracement of that bearish leg, and I still do fancy another lower high to form, and then maybe the buys kick in. I could be wrong. Maybe price does pick up, but I'm not convinced just yet, especially after the price action we've just seen. So yeah, I do fancy at least another bearish leg before the buys. Okay, where was I? Zico, what's up? Is it possible to take a look at the S&P 500? Sure thing, we can take a look at that as well. Danny, I have a question. Hope it's not stupid. So how do you determine or establish your POC? What's POC? Is that point of contact? Yeah, I'm not too sure what you mean POC. Yeah, I'm baffled. Do you mean like area of interest or like an area which I want to buy and sell from? Is that what you're referring to? Poppy, Euro Aussie short is a break even. Okay, nice. 1.75. Cool. 1 to 5. Okay, not too bad. I won't be too disappointed if it doesn't work out. Yeah, I mean, when you are looking for bigger risk rewards, you do want to have like a contingency plan, because the probability of price seeing a massive move all the way to a 1 to 5 or beyond isn't necessarily likely. 1 to 5 isn't necessarily a likely move, no matter how good the analysis is. So you want to have a plan to go against that. So it's not a situation where it's either going to be a 1 to 5 or it's going to be a loser, because price could do a million different things in between. So I would say as long as you've got a plan to kind of manage it along the way, I think you're good. Of course, if you can see a logical move for the market to hit that 1 to 5, great. But of course, that might not happen. It might get to a 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, then reverse against you. If you've got some plans to kind of manage that situation, walk away with at least some profit, then I think that's the best way forward. You're maximizing winners if the big win does happen. But if it doesn't go according to plan, you've got some backup plans for it. I think the worst thing to do is just go 1 to 5 or nothing, because a lot can happen in the middle of the time. And yeah, if you do that, you're going to have a lot of kind of near wins, which I don't think do wonders for your P&L. Raphael, is it a good place to enter into Aussie and shorts now? I would say it's a good place. I wouldn't say I would enter now. I'm not seeing any rejection that confirms that price is about to sell off. The previous candle was quite bullish, even dropping to the hourly chart. So I say in terms of location, yes, it's a really nice place to short Aussie yen, but there's no confirmation backing up. Yeah, I'm always the type of trader to wait for momentum to start picking up in my favor before jumping into a trade. Of course, maybe doesn't give you the best entry, but at least gives you a bit more confirmation that we're likely to actually turn around from that area. So in terms of the location, yes, entry not quite there yet. Demar, what's up? Morning. Hope you're doing good. Lauda, good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Thoughts on GU, short thing. We'll take a look. Okay, on the GA short, nice, but it's taking its time. Okay, I'm still pretty bearish on pound Aussie as well. It looks like price is starting to break to the downside though for GA, so maybe we're getting the move that we're expecting. I know we got the interest rates for pound on Thursday, which looks like we could be seeing some weakness for pound then as well. So that maybe that could be the cherry on top. But yeah, I'll take a look at GU and GA for you, no problem. Poppy, lost one winning run, pulled the trade early, big mistake. Don't worry, Poppy, another winning run's around the corner. That's the thing about winning run, it always does come to an end, but you can always find the next one as well. Danny, here will be point of control. I have no idea what a point of control is, Danny. I'm in the same boat as you, my friend. Point of control, I have no idea what that means. Again, there's a million different ways to trade the market, and people have a million different terms. Point of control, point of whatever, really. So don't get too wrapped up into it. If you've got a strategy, you've got an idea of a concept you want to learn, you stick to that. Don't be kind of jumping around, or a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of this. That's just where you're going to go in a circle and not really get anywhere. So, find a strategy, find like a method which you want to learn, and someone you want to learn it from, and stick to that. Trading is not about the strategy, it's about the person who trades it, really. So it's not really too important what strategy you trade, it's how well you trade it. So you're probably going to hear a lot of terms thrown around. Half of them, I don't know what they mean either. So yeah, point of control, no idea. Anyway, let's go through S&P 500. So this one, ooh, okay, nice move to the downside there. I was actually favoring a bit of continuation yesterday, but we've had a pretty strong move as we've approached this area, and we're looking a tad bearish right now. Do I still expect the continuation? Probably not at the moment, no. Would I be looking to short? Probably not at the moment either. But it was quite a nice reaction, I must admit. That was a very nice sell-off from this area. You can see it better on the hourly chart. Break and retest of this level, nice reaction. And we've been looking pretty bearish. But I'm not quite sold on the sells just yet. Really nice reaction. Are we going to see the continuation of that? If we do, then yeah, I would be quite convinced with the sells. If price was to go and break through the floor here, then yeah, I would say there's a very high chance that we do end up back at the lows here. If price was to suddenly go and break the highs again, well, yeah, we're back at a trending bullish market. Probably going to work our ways back to the highs again. So I would say we're kind of in a 50-50 situation. After the strong reaction of support, I've probably got to favor the bears here. But I wouldn't be jumping into anything just yet. We're kind of a little bit flat. So if I can see evidence of us breaking the low here, especially well, I would say, yeah, price is probably likely to end up back at the lows here. You can either look for the shorts on the breakout or wait for a retest afterwards, depending how you want to trade it. But if we can break the floor there, then yeah, I would say we're likely to end up back at the lows, and the S&P is looking pretty bearish, and maybe we've got our first lower high in a while. So yeah, S&P, I would say after that reaction, I wasn't really favoring that. I was expecting price to kind of just continue to the upside, maybe a slight pullback and a continuation. So that bearish move there is a bit of a surprise to me, but very, very strong reaction. And if you do see signs of a continuation, aka price breaking the low, then yeah, I would favor us to get back down at the lows at 62.18. So whether you're short in the breakout or looking for a retest, yeah, I would fancy a push back to the lows. The only way I would be looking for buys again is if we do clear the highs here. Then yeah, that would be a bullish sign to me. But at the moment, very strong reaction. A lot of momentum came in. Is this just a pullback for us to continue? We'll find out. A break of that floor will tell us. And yeah, at that point, maybe we do start to see a bit of a bearish trend there with S&P. But yeah, I would say we are looking quite bearish. Okay, so next pair I said I'll take a look at was Euro Aussie. Okay, we'll take a look at Poppy's idea on Euro Aussie. We'll take a look at GU and GA for Lauder, no problem. No problem, Danny, happy to help. Let me run. Refuse to pull my trade, lesson learned, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, again, if you're gonna have bigger winners, you're gonna have to sit in the trade for longer, obviously. But it's difficult to do because, of course, you're gonna have to stomach some fluctuation. You're gonna have to stomach, your floating profit potentially halving, and maybe halving again, just to see it go and double, in a few hours or a couple of days later. So yeah, that's one of the downside of looking for bigger winners, is that you're going to have to hold profits for longer. You're going to see them diminish. You're going to see them fluctuate. So you have to really be focused on the chart you're trading and not looking at your P&L too much, because that would just cause your emotions to kind of jump all over the place. But yeah, I mean, a big part of letting your winners run is just kind of allowing all the noise in between and letting the market do its thing, which of course is a lot easier said than done. But Poppy said you had a trade on Euro Aussie. I'm looking at pushing to support there. I think you might be looking at something similar. So short break even, stop loss 1.78577, 78. Okay, that's around here somewhere. You stop loss at break even, so that's where your entry was. And you take profit 1.773. That's around here. So pretty much where I've marked out that support level, 1 to 5, not too bad. Yeah, so I mean, I do see the logic here. I like it. I like the way prices rejected the highs as well. We've had a few attempts trying to break out, failed pretty much all of them, and now momentum is starting to pick up slowly to the downside. So I do still see Euro Aussie falling here back into the lows. It is just pretty much a range here, so it's kind of 50-50 which way we do eventually break out. But at least I can see a move back into support, and I think your target's pretty logical as well. You're not looking for anything too crazy. I think a move back down there makes a lot of sense. Yeah, just depends if price potentially wicks you out first before it gets there. That's anyone's guess. It might drop from where it is. It might take you out first. That's all part of trading, really. But yeah, I do like the move. I do like the idea of the trade. So yeah, best of luck with that position. We'll take a look at GU and G. Have I missed out a pair? I don't think I have. No. So yeah, pound USD, Lord, I'm pretty bearish on. I think we spoke about this yesterday. You said you're very short on the pound pairs, and GU and GA was your preferred pound pairs to short. And yeah, I still like the looks of pound USD. Lovely bearish structure recently. Nice push down, lower high, another aggressive push down. Of course, breaking structure on our left there. So I do fancy more downside here for pound USD. And the plan is, can I find that next lower high and short it, basically. I've marked out support here once, twice. So effectively, that's my main area of focus. Can we see a retest of that area? Can we see some rejection in around that area? I'll be more than happy to short. If I whip out the old fib from the high to the low, you can see we've got the 50, 0.618 kind of hovering in that area as well. So I quite like the look of a short in this area and taking it back into the lows here and maybe further as well. Depends what USD wants to do. But yeah, I'm really bearish on pound USD. That area around 1.34 still looks really good. I'm keeping a close eye on the DXY as well, which at the moment is still quite flat. We are testing some broken resistance turn support at the moment, so it's an area which we can see some upside, but we're not seeing any evidence of that happening. So I think keep an eye on the DXY, because as long as this stays flat, we probably aren't going to get the shorts that we're looking for pound USD, or at least good ones anyway. If this starts to pick up some momentum, then yeah, we'll probably see pound USD start falling and give some nice entries as well. At the moment, the DXY is still looking quite flat, and I wouldn't be too surprised if the DXY has another leg lower to give as well. We had a really aggressive drop there on Friday. I wouldn't be too surprised if this is just like a consolidation price, kind of taking a bit of a breather before we do see another aggressive drop lower. That is, I think, definitely a possibility. So I do have some areas which I've marked out slightly lower down for pound for DXY. If we do come lower, I'm still looking for the buys. Just at lower prices with a brief area of demand here, really nice bullish reaction. If we do see price break lower, I still like the buys, just from a little bit deeper of a correction. So yeah, I'll keep a close eye on USD because of course if we're shorting pound USD, we're banking on strength from the dollar. Not really seeing evidence of that happening just yet, which kind of tells me that pound probably still has a bit more upside left in it. So I think there's a good chance we do get to 1.34 and then we can speak about some shorts afterwards. But yeah, only looking to short pound. That is very much my expectation. As for pound Aussie, we've picked up some bearish momentum. I wouldn't say we haven't really broken the floor just yet, so I wouldn't start sounding the alarms just yet. But it looks like we're hinting at the idea of trying to break lower, and that's about it, to be honest. It's just a hint, because until we see kind of like one or two strong candles clearing support like this, I won't get too excited there with pound Aussie. I'm pretty bearish on the pair. I do think we're likely to break lower. We've come up to some really big areas on the weekly chart, monthly chart even. This is dating back to COVID, March 2020. We've gone and taken out those highs. Looks like we're really struggled at them. At the moment, you can see we broke above, broke below, started finding a lot of wicks and rejection into the high. I do think there's a world where we do have a bit of a sell-off here. How big of one, not too sure, but if it's going to be a big sell, it could be a really big one and gives us a nice trend. So I really like the shorts here for pound Aussie. We've got support we need to clear through first before I would get excited about the shorts myself. This is what I'm looking for, the break of that, and then a retest hopefully. Yeah. Or of course even a push back to the highs here wouldn't be such a bad idea either. But yeah, pound Aussie, I quite like the shorts. I do expect us to break lower, so I'm waiting for us to break lower. If we do break to the upside, then we might see rally back into highs first before coming back down. But yeah, pound Aussie, I'm pretty bearish on. Pound NZD as well. It's partner in crime. I'm pretty bearish on that one too. Just kind of biding my time because they're both quite sideways. They're both quite choppy, but I think eventually we'll probably see that momentum kick in. So yeah, both pound Aussie, both pound USD and pound Aussie, I like the downside. Not quite ready to short for me just yet, but keep an eye on both. I think pound USD looks the better one because it's kind of more of a cleaner pullback. With pound Aussie, I have to wait for the break and the retest, which might take a few days. But we shall see. Fred, okay, you're in gold shorts from 33.82. 33.82 targeting PDL at 33.49. What PDL is that a good zone? Let's go take a look. So you're short from 33.82. No problem, Lord. Happy to help. 33.82. So that's around here. Nice entry, looking good and some healthy profit. And 33.49. That's around. Okay, let me drop to like the 15-minute chart, so I can see in a bit more detail. 33.49. Okay, so that's that low there. I mean, price is almost there. I wouldn't say that looks bad at all. I mean, you're basically targeting the price swing low there, and of course this is where all the momentum came from. So naturally, I would suggest price is likely to come there, because if we are looking to have another rally, that's probably where we're going to have it from. If buyers are looking to take price higher, I would suggest that we're likely to come back and test support there. So yeah, I would say you're looking really good. So I'll say momentum's very much picked up with the bears there as well. At this point in time, we might see a retracement because I would probably say that we're a little bit overextended to the downside. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do push up, but I would suggest that we're still likely to come back and test that area. So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that, to be honest. Of course, you're kind of 75-80% of the way there. Yeah, at that point, I'll just kind of let the trade do its thing, to be honest. Really nice move. Momentum's picked up well. You can always close the trade early if you start to see some big red flags. Maybe a lot of rejection starts to form. Market starts to find a new area of support. You know, you can always close the trade early since you're most of the way there. But yeah, I would fancy us getting there. Like I said, we might retrace a little bit, so keep that in mind. But a push to that area does not look anything too crazy, anything too far-fetched. And we are rejecting that area quite well. So it looks like price is doing a pretty good job at holding that as resistance. I did say at the beginning of the week, I think that might give us a bit of a reaction, but I wouldn't bank on a big move. And that's still very much my thinking. And the only reason I say that is because of where price is trading and how we've been trading. You know, this is a big consolidation. If you're looking to trade within the consolidation, you have to be quite cautious about targets and about holding the trade as well, because there's just a lot of fluctuation in this area. The better places are at the highs and lows. That's more from like a swing perspective. If you're intraday, of course, I understand there'll be opportunities in between the lines, opportunities for like a session. You're not here for a long time. So I perfectly understand that. But if you're looking for like a swing trade, you know, if you're looking to hold the trade for a few days, then you know, these are the areas which we really want to be looking to focus on. But at the moment, really nice reaction from that resistance level. I said earlier, maybe this is an area to look into for a target. I probably wouldn't try and push the trade further than that, but I think that's a logical place to target. Maybe some buyers could step in there to take us higher. But so far, nice resistance once, breakout, break back in. Now we've got the retest. I think that's a nice reaction there as well. It looks like momentum starting to pick up. And that's kind of what I'm expecting for silver as well. As silver reaches this area of supply, I do think silver can see some downside. I'm sort of tempted to hop into some shorts. Move this out of the way. It's not being respected. I'm tempted to enter some shorts, but I need to see a good entry. If there's a good enough entry, I'll jump in. If not, then I'll leave it alone. I have a lot of interest in the CHF pairs at this moment in time. So those are probably the pairs I'm likely to take some trades on. Probably pretty soon as well. I'll go through some of the CHF pairs in a minute. But silver to me I like silver compared to gold, because silver, we've seen a lovely bearish leg here. There's a lot of momentum. It's just naturally in a trending environment anyway, so I like the conditions more. I think we'll probably see a bigger move to the downside as well. So silver, I quite like what I'm seeing. This 4 hour candle still got about 3 hours left before it does close. I'll debate if it's worthy enough for me to take a trade. If not, I have other pairs which I'm focusing on. But yeah, I do think silver is likely to drop, and maybe if gold drops and silver drops, we might see some big moves for both of them. And of course, if USD can see some strength as well, that probably helps out both of them to the downside too in their correlation. Ironic in the same sell on gold. Nice. Congrats, LFTJ. Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing with gold. You know, we had a nice rally, but that momentum seems to have died out now. And that's really what you want to be doing in ranges. You want to short momentum. You know, in trending markets, you kind of want to be looking to continue momentum and follow momentum. But in ranging markets, it's more about trying to short the highs of momentum and buy the lows of it as well. You're looking to try and fade the moves, because, you know, essentially that's what range bound markets give you. You know, you see momentum, it forms a top, it comes back down. See momentum on the way down, it forms a bottom. Yeah, the same thing repeats. So when you are seeing bullish moves like this, bearish moves like this, you're actually trying to pick the lows really. And because of the condition of the market, you will have you know, a lot more going for you. You know, trying to predict the lows and predict the highs in a ranging market is just naturally a lot easier to do than pick the highs and lows in a trending market. But yeah, really nice reaction. I would suggest maybe 33.30 as a decent target, but of course you could have some targets before that as well. UD, it's that weekly support that might be a strong level. Just be cautious. Are you talking about gold or silver? I'm not too sure which market you're talking about. Anyway, I'm going to go through some of the CHF pairs because that's kind of where a lot of my interest is. So in particular, I would say Aussie CHF, CAD CHF, and possibly Pound CHF as well. Maybe New Zealand CHF if it can pick up too. I'm not looking to trade them all, but those are the CHF pairs which I'm quite interested in. The reason why I quite like Aussie CHF and CAD CHF for that matter is both of these guys are coming from all-time lows. So naturally, I'm expecting big recoveries for them. Same kind of situation with Swiss yen as well. That's coming from all-time highs. I do expect a bit of a recovery there. But this one's coming from all-time lows. If I expand to the monthly chart very quickly, zoom out, you can see price just being spiking to the downside. And every time it does have one of these kind of aggressive sell-offs, it does normally have a pretty big recovery, and that's kind of what I'm banking on. So going forward with Aussie CHF, we've had a very corrective fall, which tells me that, okay, there's not much emphasis with the bears here. There's not a lot of momentum there. So it tells me that, okay, probably we're looking to form a bottom to go higher. So I'm banking on this being a bit of a bottom. And I like the way price is kind of consolidating here. And I'm kind of banking on something like this happening on a break to the upside. So I'm looking to see if I can partake in that, whether maybe waiting for a daily close above all these wicks, or maybe trying to enter a little bit early on the 4-hour chart. Maybe if I see some evidence of us closing above these areas, I might try and sneak in a buy. Probably won't have the best risk to reward because I kind of want to get my stop loss either below this low or that low. But I do have the expectation of a pretty big move, not only back to these highs, but back to this massive area of supply, which spat out all that momentum. You can see it better on the daily chart. This is where we had a brief consolidation and a huge sell-off. I do expect us to eventually get there again. So I'm pretty bullish here on an Aussie Swiss. I think a breakout is coming, but at the moment, resistance is doing a pretty good job. And for all I know, we might still get to the highs and roll back over again. So and you see some evidence of us clearing to the upside, and I don't mind taking some entries on that breakout, knowing that, okay, we've had a big pullback, the lows are forming. Now, hopefully you can see a swing to the upside. So Aussie CHF for me is starting to brew, starting to get ready for some buys. Not quite there yet, still a lot of resistance in this area, but if I can see some momentum breaking to the upside, that'll be enough to trigger me into the position. CAD CHF in the same kind of situation, really. Another market which is kind of consolidating and hinting at another break to the upside as well. Another market which is just coming after creating new all-time lows. If you see, zoom out all the way back to the 80s, price hasn't been lower. So we're at some pretty low prices, and naturally I do expect a bit of a pullback. And again, when you are buying markets like this, which of course are obviously trending to the downside, you just have to be quite cautious. Yes, there is room to the upside. Yes, there's room for a pullback. But at the same time, there's always room for new lows. There's always room for the market to trend a little bit further. Trying to predict the lows is always an aggressive situation. So I like the buys because of the situation we're in, where all-time lows is a natural tendency for us to retrace. But if I get into the trade and early on I start to see maybe corrective behavior in my favor, or I start to see some wicks starting to form against me or momentum pick up against me, I won't be afraid to close the trade early and not kind of just sit in it and hope it price does pick up. I'd rather get out the trade early, wait for momentum pick up again in my favor, then jump back in this particular situation. If it was pro trend and I had the higher time frames backing me, then it would be a different situation. I'll be happy to sit in the trade and eventually expect price to continue my favor. Not in this situation. So I like the buys for what they are, but at the same time I'm being quite cautious. So yeah, CAD CHF, another one, looking for momentum to pick up. Might even just wait for a strong daily close again before entering, because the way I see it, we've had a lovely consolidation. Price broke the consolidation, came back in to retest it. Now potentially we're seeing more momentum after the retest. So that kind of confirms to me that this is a higher low. Maybe we're about to see a higher high, and that we could see the breakout. So Quite like the buys there of CAD Swiss as well. And finally, pound CHF, not at all-time lows, but is coming from a pretty big level of support on the higher time frames, particularly the weekly chart. As you can see, prior reactions, even if I can bring this over there as well, support there forming as well. So we're in a very interesting area, and I can start to see by the behavior of pound CHF how corrective we've been, that probably prices are getting ready for a bit of a move to the upside there as well. So again, looking for some opportunities for a buy, maybe kind of waiting for us to clear some resistance before entering. I could enter on the daily chart as well. Maybe even wait for a stab lower and then looking for a buy here. That would be the best case scenario in terms of entry. We'll see if we can get something like that, or maybe something on a breakout and with a bigger stop loss. So yeah, those are the CHF pairs which I think are getting ready to turn. They've been very bearish for quite a while. CHF has been very strong, but looks like things are turning around. CHF JPY looks like it's about to do the opposite as well. So keeping a close eye on some buying opportunities there. UD, the DAX, okay, sure thing, we'll take a look. Lauder, no problem, happy to help. We're going to have to love you and leave you, no problem. Hope to see you on next stream or whenever we can see you again, but I appreciate you coming on. Love to have you here. By the way, guys, if you do enjoy the streams, do you find them useful, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, does really help out. I do really appreciate everyone who has liked, subscribed so far, and of course hit the bell whilst you're at it and share it with your friends as well. Does really help out. Cease Integrated, my man, what is up? Welcome to the stream, hope you are doing good. So let's get to the old DAX, see what's happening there. So last time I looked at the DAX, we were coming back to retest some resistance. And it looks like we are in full flow of that right now. So of course you've got price support to your left there. Prices smash into that, and so far we're seeing some momentum. So it's looking good here, I have to admit, for the DAX. Couple wicks there to the upside. I quite like this wick here, piercing to the upside. Any kind of early sellers from yesterday have just been liquidated there. Nice little wick there to the upside. That looks like momentum's starting to spill over. Hourly chart not looking fantastic. I would still say we're kind of correctively ascending here. So nothing to get too excited with just yet. Maybe if we can see some momentum start to break through that, that could end up being a nice entry there. And possibly we might see a swing all the way here. Again, I'll be quite cautious with targets for the DAX. I know we've had a lovely break to the downside, but still the overall market is still quite bullish. So I would still be quite careful with the shorts. But I have to say that we are starting to respect this level quite well. I would say if we can see a bit more momentum, a strong close, that would be a nice entry signal. I like the price action, like the kind of wick we had this morning. You're kind of taking out some early traders there. Now potentially we might see the move, and maybe that does take us back into the lows here. I said for the DAX, as long as we stay below this level, 24k roughly, I would be bearish, looking for a push lower and just looking for rejection. If price was to suddenly recover this area and start to use that as support, then yeah, fair enough. That might be a big fake out or back above support. Probably going to see a push back to the high of the range in and around that area there. So yeah, with the DAX, I think things are looking pretty bearish here. Looks like indices are struggling right now, DAX included. Lovely price action. I like the wick. Momentum looks like it's starting to come into the market. Need a bit more of it though, but looks like we're starting to see some of that. And there could be some nice shorts maybe this afternoon or sometime later today. But yeah, I quite like what I'm seeing here for the DAX. And if that rejection can keep up, possibly a push to 23,450. I'll be quite cautious with the management, staying on my toes, because yes, this rejection looks good, but I know I'm still kind of anti-trend here. Whenever I'm talking about shorting the indices, I'm always quite cautious because I know on average the shorts don't tend to last too long. So you have to be quite careful with them. But this setup is as good as it gets, really. Lovely support level, rejected it multiple times, healthy breakout with a lot of momentum, pretty nice pullback for the retest, seen some healthy rejection. You know, what more do you want with this setup? So it's looking really good. I would say kind of just waiting for a bit more momentum to confirm things, then hopefully a swing back to lows. So yeah, quite liking what I'm seeing with the DAX here. No problem, UD. Happy to help. See us integrated. DXY finally getting to 98.5. Yeah. Okay, as first entry and monitor. Okay, nice. I like the idea as well. So yeah, DXY does look like that. It was quite flat. Well, it's been quite flat since the start of the week. Of course, we had the big sell-off on NFP, and that was kind of giving me the heebie-jeebies a little bit about looking to buy the DXY straight away, because it was such an aggressive bearish move on Friday. If this was a little bit slower, if this was kind of corrective on the way down, I'll be looking to buy kind of straight away, really, especially on the retest of a high like this. But we had a really aggressive sell-off, and now we're kind of just being flat. So it could be a situation where we've had a big drop, market's pausing, / a correction, and now we're seeing the continuation of that momentum that we saw on Friday. So yeah, I'm still very bullish on the DXY, still looking to buy it. We might see that push to 98.5, which you've been looking for. I've still got some areas around 97.8, which I can see us getting to potentially. But most important, I'm just going to see how we react really, and what momentum gives us. Do we pick up momentum on the way down? Is this just going to give us a wick here to the downside? Because technically speaking, we haven't broke support. Maybe we just wick through and then recover. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, this candle closes in the next 45 minutes. We'll see how it does close. But I am still looking to buy USD. I'm still very much a buyer of the dollar. So that's kind of all set in stone, at least for now anyway. Now I'm just waiting for a good opportunity for a buy. And if price does pick up momentum and starts to break the consolidation here again, maybe sees a nice close, then yeah, I'll be more than happy to take some buys there, banking on a push back to the high there. More so kind of looking to short euro dollar, that is. So if euro dollar can start to give me some momentum like this, that would be nice. Stops above the high there, then yeah, looking to target the low. Of course, looks like euro dollar's picking up some momentum here. So we'll see how this momentum sustains. Is this candle potentially going to close and break resistance, or is it just leaving us a bit of a wick to pull back down? We've still got 2 hours and 45 minutes before that does close, so a lot can happen in that time. Like I said, for you, I've still got this area here marked out as an area which maybe price does get to for another lower high. We've got one over there, second. I can see a world where we get here for a third. The reason why I haven't been so keen to short euro straight away is just because, again, how aggressive that move was on NFP. It was way too aggressive for my liking. It looks like a big V-shaped pattern to me. And typically, V-shaped patterns normally mean more upside. So that's why I've been quite cautious. So yeah, if that momentum does continue, then 1.17 is kind of more so where I'm looking at. If it does start to fail here, maybe consolidates a little bit longer, start to see some momentum, that's great as well. I'll take some shorts, have a stab at it, stops above the high, and see if I can target lows and maybe even a bit of a reversal here. Maybe even somewhere down there possibly. So there is a lot of downside potential for euro, but being cautious right now. Momentum's kind of picked up with the buyers there. How's pound USD doing? Not as bullish. Looks like euro's a lot stronger. Okay, got buy at 98 as well. Last buy is 97.8, same as you. Nice. My range is 98.2. Okay, 97.8. Cool. Doesn't break 99.1. I will close position at 99 to be safe. Okay, DXY neutral for now. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, that's a nice kind of zone there. You got a lot of kind of space to work with. And again, that's the beauty of trading as well, is that you don't have to be right to the exact price. A lot of people are trying to find entries and get into the market at the exact price where price is going to put a high or low. Essentially that's very, very difficult to call. Where price is going to perform that exact high or low, the lower high. You want to have areas to work in and kind of monitor price and let price do the talking. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself chasing shadows quite a lot of the time. So, yeah, I mean, that's a nice kind of area to work into. I think, yeah, if we can start to see momentum, especially start to clear 99, then I think that's when we're in business and actually start to see some real momentum. If it does start to struggle, then yeah, maybe price is gonna, well, I wouldn't necessarily reverse. I'm not quite sold on the bears yet. I think I would probably be kind of just observing DXY, to be honest, and just maybe stay a bit more neutral, because the bearish structure on the higher time frames is still well and truly at play. You know, we've had this massive drop here. You know, who's to say that we can't fall a little bit further? That's definitely a possibility. If I remove my drawings there, you know, last week we did see some nice momentum, but we did have a really big wick there. So there is rejection there. So again, being a bit cautious. I mean, seeing a bearish candle this week wouldn't be the craziest thing, especially after such a big wick the previous candle. So I can see a world where we do retrace quite deep. Like I said, I'm still looking to buy the market, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do push down maybe for the majority of the week, and then towards Thursday, Friday, or maybe a bit more Friday, we start to form a bit of a lower wick for the candle and start to push back up again. And that could be the buy we're looking for. And again, that wick there has changed a lot. If we had a strong close last week, I think this week we probably would have seen a slight retracement and then just seen a lot of continuation. But NFP did kind of skew things up. I did say I wanted to see a bearish NFP for the dollar, but not as aggressive as it was, and not as large as it was as well. You know, it was a really big bearish candle, engulfed like 10 candles there. I was not expecting that, and that's kind of skewed things up a little bit. So yeah, we'll see how the dollar does develop. Things can change quite quickly. I'm still looking to buy, so that's still my main play. But I can kind of see a world where, you know, price looks like it's kind of found resistance there, found it again, bit like a head and shoulder pattern, left head, right shoulder. That's kind of your neckline. And if we do break out of that, I can see us pushing a lot lower, and that's hopefully where this zone comes into play, and then hopefully take some buys off that. If I do whip out the old fib, we got the 0.786, sorry, trading kind of perfectly in that zone as well. So that could be a nice added confidence for the trade, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, the dollar's looking quite interesting. Of course, looking quite bearish at the moment right now, and we're kind of seeing other USD pairs kind of react to that. But yeah, that wick on that wick that we got on the weekly chart caused by NFP on Friday has definitely skewed things. If I go take a look at Euro as well, of course we've got the same reaction there too, and that's kind of what made me kind of a bit cautious about shorting Euro straight away, because again, you can see on the weekly chart here, if you look to the left, we had a big wick rejection, retracement. Price, of course, since then has broken to the upside. And then again, we've come back to retest the level. And again, what do we get? A massive wick into that zone. So again, you know, there's a world where this is just a break and retest, prior resistance, turn support, retested, and possibly price does continue to the upside from here. You know, I don't think that's such a crazy move to expect, to be honest. So although the lower time frames, we've had a lovely sell-off and looks like we're seeing a retracement, I can see a world where dollar remains weak and euro dollar keeps pushing as well. So I'm being cautious. I can see both sides of the coin. And again, you know, I think a good part of trading is being able to see the market from both angles. Of course, you don't want to confuse yourself, but you want to kind of be prepared for both scenarios. And yeah, to me, that looks like, you know, price could potentially rally. I'm still very much a bear, but the way I see it, we've had such a strong rejection here. I kind of want to see that deep retracement come into play, because if I can get a push up here, I'll be a lot more comfortable shorting Euro USD. A lot more comfortable, because if I can short up there, it means I'm not in this kind of noise anymore when we have that big wick and that big rejection. And I'm just trading from an area of supply, which I can see we had a lovely consolidation at. We had a lovely, well, a huge bearish candle from that zone. I know naturally sellers could be looking to jump in the market at this area. So I'd be a lot more confident with the shorts here. And, you know, I mean, I might not necessarily bank on a push all the way to the lows here, but I think I can probably walk away with a bit of a reaction that maybe if price does form a high low somewhere, I can probably still walk away with a small win. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. I can see USD turn around completely. It's just going to be what USD does. Again, a big part of being a technical trader anyway is that you kind of react to what the market gives you. You want to stay open-minded. Of course, you don't want to be confusing yourself. You want to have clear opportunities for selling and clear opportunities for buying. But in terms of like your bias, you do want to be a little bit flexible because you're just following the technicals. You're basically following what price is doing, and price can change at any point in time. So yeah, for me, that's kind of where I would like to see some shorts from. Of course, we do have the breaking retest here. We'll see what that can give us, but I need some really strong reaction to back a trade there. If not, I'd wait for a push to the high. And that kind of goes for other USD pairs as well. Dollar CHF, another one of those USD pairs, which again did leave pretty aggressive wick to the upside there. You've got support to the left, and look what happens. Another lovely wick to the upside there as well. I wouldn't be too surprised if we do see price reject this area and start to sell off again. So I'm being cautious with that because I can see multiple USD pairs give me the same kind of rejection, which could amount to a lot of downside. So I think, again, for dollar CHF, if you could see a pullback to this area, number one, we're away from the noise in this area here, so we're not buying directly into resistance. Price is probably a bit more stretched when we're over here as well, and we're coming into a nice area of demand, which we did see that initial bullish move happen from as well. So there's a lot of boxes being ticked at these areas, and a lot of pros at these areas. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm waiting for the deeper corrections, because of how aggressive the retracement is, the rejection and the levels we're rejecting as well, and the fact that a lot of these USD pairs have a lot of wicks as well, which is a bit of a red flag to me. So if we can see a bit more downside, great. I'll take some buys off those areas, hopefully, if I can see the reaction for it, and then we'll go from there. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not really, haven't talked too much about long-term buys for the DXY, because I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure with it. And I can see a world where we do still continue lower. I can see a world where all of this corrective behavior means that we're running out of steam, and possibly going to see a bit. Oh, that's an awful arrow. Let's do that again. And I can see a world where all of this corrective behavior means that we're getting ready for a bit of a turnaround. And that's kind of what I've been favoring, price to turn around a little bit, because we're quite stretched. We're taking out some key lows. We're looking quite corrective. Now you can compare the momentum in this bearish leg and in this bearish leg, then you compare it here. Is a big difference. You're seeing sharp candles, big candles driving us lower. Now, ever since price has taken out these lows, we've slowed down, haven't really seen any big candles, more wicks, more bullish candles coming into play, slower price action. That really kind of tells me that momentum is dying, and we're probably going to see a bit of a turnaround to the upside. So that's why I've been bullish on the dollar, because of all of those characteristic changes we've seen with the price action. That kind of tells me that the bears are starting to run out of juice, and maybe the buys are going to take us to the upside. So that's why I've been looking to buy, but again, not really seeing the momentum we're after just yet. So that's why I'm not really talking about a long-term swing. And if I do get into a buy for USD, so a setup favoring USD strength, I'm probably just looking for a couple days or so. I mean, I'll trail my stops. I'll see how far I can take the trade. If things look good, I'll try and push the trade as far as I can. But I will have the expectation that it's probably just going to be a couple days. Then I probably will see price go against me. I'll be happy to walk away with whatever the market gives me, of course. But that's kind of the situation for the dollar. To be honest, the dollar looks good, but I said most of my eggs are in the CHF basket. I quite like what the CHF pairs are doing. I think there's a lot of opportunity there with the CHF pairs. I think there's some big moves to be had. So I'm kind of keeping a close eye on the CHF pairs now. Aussie CHF, Pound CHF, in particular, CAD CHF as well, New Zealand CHF potentially. Again, not looking to trade all these CHF pairs, but I do think they're starting to form some lows, starting to form some bottoms, and naturally, I do think that will pick up and see some rallies. So I quite like what I'm seeing with the CHF pairs. In terms of the yen pairs have been interesting. I struggle in terms of the risk reward, really. That's why I kind of haven't really been jumping into any sells just yet. I think Aussie yen looks interesting. coming back to retest this consolidation. If I expand to the daily chart, this is pretty much the range we had. And now it looks like price is coming back to retest that same range. Of course, this is the breakout we had on Friday. Now, the past couple of days will look like we're coming back for the retest. And I've highlighted this area specifically. And I feel like if we can get some healthy rejection here, it makes sense to short. The only reason why I'm a bit cautious is because, again, mostly I enter my trades on the 4-hour chart. If I do see a nice reaction on the 4-hour chart, I'm probably going to be running into lows pretty soon afterwards. So ideally, I kind of would want to get some shorts here, but that ship has sailed. That ship has sailed there. So the CHF pairs are kind of might run into a bit of yen pairs. Sorry, might run into a bit of trouble. CHF pairs have got a bit more room, so I quite like what I'm seeing there. Pound yen, same situation here as well. Lovely down move, left behind some price support, which I quite like the idea of a retest for resistance and some more downside. I think pound yen might give me a better trade in terms of the risk reward. So out of all the yen pairs, I think pound yen might be the better one for me. So keep an eye on that one, but I'm pretty short bias with this one. Really corrective trend to the upside, nothing really convincing. And then a lot of consolidation here. We had one last rally where price tried to continue, but that failed. Turning the dime to the downside, really bearish momentum, aggressively breaking structure. So in my book, there's a highly likely chance we trace to retest some structure and then just continue lower. So I would say out of all the yen pairs, GJ for me looks the best because I think that can give me the best risk reward as well. CAD yen in a similar boat for me. I do think we can drop as well. I'm not fancying a huge reversal. No problem. DMAR, happy to help. I'm not fancying a huge reversal just yet for CJ because we are still very consistent with the high lows. We had like a triple bottom down here or a double bottom, depends how you view it. And we've been pretty consistent with the high lows. I still feel like another one is probably going to form or could form at least and take us back to high. So the shorts I'm favoring here is more so the fact that, okay, we broke out of this consolidation, we had a slight fake to the upside, which was this move. So you got the consolidation there, back and forth. You got the fake to the upside, strong break to the downside. Now my expectation is a retest and then a continuation. And then from there, we might see the next high-low form. This is kind of like a nice consolidation there. Spent a few days, nice rally. Not the most momentum in the world, but a strong enough reaction where we could see buyers enter the market again. And maybe from there we continue. So this is really the move I favor for most of the yen pairs, a pullback and a continuation. If I look at the yen basket, I kind of have the same idea. I always spell basket wrong the first time. That's a really weird thing I do. So yeah, in terms of the yen basket as well, this one does have some support below, which I was actually expecting us to go and test, but we haven't quite done that yet. So I still think there's more downside to be had. There's a lot of support in this area, which will be turn resistance, which I kind of feel price can come back and retest, and then maybe continue to the downside from. And again, you can see in the yen basket situation as well, we had a bit of consolidation. Price kind of faked that to the downside, and an aggressive break higher. I'm looking at the yen basket like this, retest, continuation, and then maybe we reverse, and that gives us the next low high with the retest of that structure. So as I drop to the 4-hour chart, this for me is kind of where I'm banking on a buy. So keeping a close eye on the price action, strong shift of momentum, I think that's a nice buy. That takes us back into resistance, maybe around 6,600, and from there we can speak about some shorts. So yeah, going forward with the yen pairs, I think they're probably better intraday opportunities rather than like swing trades. I think maybe this could be a nice swing trade if this forms. Trying to take the low high for a push down. So like trying to look to buy CAD yen, I feel like could be a nice swing trade. After the pullbacks happened, that would be a nice trade. I think Aussie yen as well, after the pullback has happened, that could be a nice trade on the way back up. And I still think that's probably likely the bigger move. Euro yen's another one of them as well. Euro yen hasn't achieved the targets I've been looking for it just yet. So I feel like that could eventually give us a really nice buy opportunity. So I quite like the buys longer term. In the short term, I quite like the sells for now. But I think if you can drop to like an hourly chart, you might find a better situation, a better setup. 4 hour might not be the best in terms of risk to reward. But Euro yen as well, quite like the buys. The only difficult thing is trying to find a concrete level to buy from. I mean, we've been respecting this area, which I have said in the past, which I like, but haven't liked as much as time's gone on, especially with the momentum as well. So that's the only kind of conundrum from Euro yen. But maybe if I start to see multiple reactions around here, I might bank on a trade. I still think there's a lot of room to the upside for Euro yen. But yeah, my focus really is with the CHF pairs, so I'm going to pay a lot of attention to them. Hopefully get into some swings. Again, I'll take it one at a time with the CHF pairs. So if I can get into a trade, it performs well, then if I can remove risk, then I'll look for another CHF pair if I can. If not, I'll sit on that one. But yeah, CHF pairs look good. USD pairs potentially, yen pairs potentially as well. Some of the other crosses, I've spoken a lot about New Zealand CAD. I think there's a big move to the downside to be had for that one, but that's taking its sweet time. So for the time being, I'm not really seeing much of an opportunity with this one. I'm talking a lot about the consolidation here, equal lows, your equal highs around there. And I've simply just been looking for price to break to the downside, which we kind of are doing, but just not with much confidence. Nothing that gets me excited to hop into a trade and short New Zealand CAD. I've got the expectation of a swing back into this area, then potentially back into this area if things go very well. So I'm looking for a really big sell, but all I see really is kind of half-hearted breakouts, which is not enough to me to get into a trade. If I do drop to the 4 hour chart though, I can see there is a bit of like a 4 hour level starting to develop here. Support once, twice, and a third time recently. I feel like if you can break through that, a retest of that could actually provide a nice opportunity there as well. And maybe that's the next level high we're looking for. But again, that's probably going to take a few days to develop, so not too concerned with that. We haven't really got the break yet, so nothing really to report on. But New Zealand CAD is a pair which, from a high time frame perspective, I'm seeing a lot of rejections, especially on the tri-weekly chart. There's a lot of wicks here to the upside as price comes back into some key levels. And with all of these wicks here, there's a strong chance that we are gonna fall here. If price was gonna rally, probably wouldn't see as many wicks as we're seeing there. So I think the drop is pretty likely. Now the plan is just, how do I get into a trade? And I've been asking myself that same question for quite a while now. So just staying patient, hopefully getting a good breakout, and then hopefully can speak about some pullbacks afterwards. But out of the crosses, I would say New Zealand CAD and Pound CAD have been the two pairs I like the most. Pound Aussie as well, but that's still kind of stuck in consolidation. A break of that, then I'll be a bit more interested in it, but I like Pound Aussie as well. Saga, yes, we'll take a look at gold, no problem. Let me just get through Pound CAD first. So yeah, Pound CAD, another pair which again are having a lot of trouble at the highs. Again, if I go to the tri-weekly chart as well, you can see a lot of wicks around this area. A major resistance once, big push to the downside. You can see we're in that area again, and what we're getting, a lot of wicks to the upside, a lot of failure to see more upside. So naturally, I do expect to see a bit of a drop here. As I drop to the daily chart, that's where it gets a little bit choppy, a little bit confusing, because roughly we're still kind of trading at support right now. So I'm not quite convinced about jumping into some shorts just yet. If things go well, I do think we can end up back there. But this is still kind of bullish territory. So I'm kind of hoping to see a bit of a reaction to the upside, back into some resistance. And then maybe from there, I can start to speak about some shorts again and maybe a sell-off. Because right now, there's not a lot of momentum. A very corrective move on the way down. Doesn't really give me much confidence that Pound CAD's going to keep falling there. I need to see some aggressive momentum like we had previously, over there as well. That gives me health. That gives me health. That gives me well, it gives me a healthy trend, but it shows me that okay, the trend is still likely to continue. So I'm happy to get into pullbacks and keep shorting, but quite corrective in the last leg. So I do want to see a pretty big retracement, see what we can do at resistance. If things react well, I can probably get some stop losses above the high and hopefully capitalize on another swing. So yeah, pound CAD, more downside I expect, just not quite ready yet for opportunities. As for gold, let me know if there's a particular time frame you want me to take a look at for gold. But as for gold, again, gold's just a very sideways market. I'm not seeing much of an opportunity here. I can see, yes, we are respecting resistance here pretty well. If I drop to the lower time frames, we kind of had a couple kind of fake rallies to the upside here. So we had a 1 sold off, 2 sold off as well. So I would suggest if we can get a third back into the highs, that probably gives you a nice sell opportunity, around this area here. So I'm pretty bearish on gold in this zone. As we push to the kind of the limits of this range, more so this area, but equally I do like the resistance here, which is why I marked on the chart. I think it's a smart place for a short. I spoke about this area being a target for gold, 33.30, as an area which you can probably target, an area which we're likely to come back and retest. I wouldn't look for anything crazy for gold because after all, we are a ranging market. We're not selling from the heights that we should be doing, which is kind of up here. Again, when we're trading ranges, my motto is sell high, buy low. Try and find the highest point to sell and try and find the lowest point to buy. That's where you can get your best trades. Anywhere in between is always going to be a bit more difficult. Not that you can't find a good trade there or can't find a good trade. Of course you can, but it's just a little bit more difficult. A lot more noise. You're going to have to be careful with your stops. But I don't mind stops above the high here. I think that makes sense there. And looking to try and catch a resistance, try and catch a rejection of the high makes sense. Of course, ideally, stops around there would be nicer. But I think the opportunity we're seeing now makes sense as well. And then if you're looking for some buys, I'd wait for a push back to 32.60, which is all the way down at the lows there. I mean, we were very close to getting the buys last week, was it, or the week before? I think it was last week. Very close to getting the buys here. Didn't quite see that happen, and price reversed pretty aggressively. So the way I see gold right now is that we are just kind of moved sideways. Yes, kind of trading at some nice resistance at the moment where we can see some downside, but I wouldn't get too excited really because of the nature of the market. You might see a move to the downside for a couple of days, but that's about it. I mean, even that would be even a lot, to be honest. I quite like silver though. I think that's the better pair. Not as range bound. Gold for me is just a range bound market. We're kind of just trying to pick the highs and lows, whereas silver has more of an established trend. And if I can see momentum close well, I probably would get into a trade here. You can see that candle's already pulled back up. Last time we were looking at this candle was looking pretty bearish and trading down there. Within about 20 minutes it's pulled back up and it looks like a doji, which is why it's so important to wait for candles to close before judging a candle, because a live candle can do a lot of things before it does close. So waiting for a candle to close before judging it is very, very vital. But yeah, I prefer silver a lot more. We had a lovely sell-off last couple of weeks here, starting from the high there into that low. Really nice momentum. Technically broken through some structure on our left there. So that's kind of made me quite bearish on the pair. And just how impulsive it was and how impulsive this rally was. To me, this was a really strong push. And we've kind of seen that mirrored on the way back down. So the way I see it, I feel like a sort of a head and shoulder pattern can form. It's not your textbook one, but it kind of does the job there for me, which is maybe pretty bearish here on silver. I don't see silver kind of rallying back to highs and continuing from where we are right now. I would say this bullish move also looks quite corrective there as well. So yeah, going forward with silver, more downside for me looks pretty likely. If I can see a decent entry, I probably will get into some shorts. If things are not looking quite there yet with silver, I'll just focus with the other CHF pairs, but I quite like silver. And then in terms of the buys, I'm kind of waiting for a push into this weekly zone. which is probably something I'll probably look to try and pick up on maybe like a daily chart. To be honest, it's more like a swing slash position trade, but it's a really significant level which we did break out of and never had a retest of since the breakout. So if price would be kind enough to come back and retest this area, I think that's a great place to be looking for some entries for a buy for silver, and naturally a push back to this area 39.41 and probably beyond that point as well. I think eventually all-time highs will be targeted, which is just shy of 50. That's what I do see silver heading towards, but that's a story for another day. So silver long-term buys look good, just waiting for a retest of that zone. In the moment right now though, looking to sell it. And of course with gold looking quite bearish as well, I think that could probably help help silver, see some downside. I mean, it will determine with the DXY, but the DXY is looking quite bearish now, so that does need to flip bullish if we are going to see maybe that sell on silver with full potential. Probably do need to see some strength there for the dollar, but we'll have to wait and see. Not going to try and force anything for the moment. As for some of the other indices, which again have been effective with the dollar, of course we spoke about the S&P, which was looking quite bearish. Looks like the NAS in a similar situation. You can see it better on the hourly chart. Lovely reaction at support there. Really aggressive move. I wasn't expecting such an aggressive move, to be honest, but now it looks like we are doing that. You know, possibly could see a swing there, especially if we do see some new lows past this point. That kind of proves to us that, okay, we do have some bearish structure at play, and that we probably are going to just nestle at the lows here. So at this point, NAS looking pretty bearish, S&P looking pretty bearish. US 30 not as much, but in a similar situation, coming back into supply there. I did say some buys could look good on the retest of this zone yesterday, which have actually provided a nice reaction. Probably not as big as I was expecting, but we have seen a nice retest of that area. But I would say still be quite careful, because this is still a nice zone of resistance, and I can still see a world where we do sell off, especially knowing what the S&P and what the NAS has done. If the NAS and the S&P have sold off, maybe US 30 is just lagging behind, and we can see that eventually catch up. So I think US 30, we probably are due another move lower, and probably will take us back to 43,900 there. So we'd be quite cautious there. Again, long term, I think this is still a fantastic place to pick up some longs for US 30. After that bullish engulfing candle on Monday, I said maybe we don't get the retest, but maybe we do. Maybe we do. If we do, I think that's a great place for a buy. And of course, with the target back at the highs there. But yeah, that was a nice rejection on the 4-hour chart. I do think US 30 can see some downside. BTC, I think last time I had a look, was looking a tad bearish as well. Yeah, a bit of a sell-off there as well. Again, BTC, the idea was we broke out consolidation, so the plan was looking for the retest and some more downside. I've talked about this kind of bullish zone as BTC for me. Looks like we've broken out, but there hasn't been much momentum. So I kind of do fancy still more upside. I dropped to the 4-hour chart. This to me kind of looks like a big flag pattern, almost like a big correction. So as BTC continues to see some more downside, I do expect this to happen in the near future. It's not like we've sold off aggressively. It's a very, very corrective move down. Very, very corrective. You can kind of compare that with this move as well. We did see price eventually break out consolidation here as well, but you can see for the most part how corrective it was on the way down. It kind of did form a bit of a channel there as well. Maybe not textbook, but to a degree, a similar situation. Nice bearish channel. Eventually we saw a continuation. Here, of course, we saw a large kind of channel form. Eventually got nice continuation there. You can see here, this was a lot more aggressive on the way down. Even this move was quite aggressive. It did eventually kind of consolidate then rally, but it was a lot more aggressive and it gave us more of a move down. So comparing previous cycles for BTC and seeing how things are looking right now, it looks to me that another descending channel's forming and possibly Another break to the upside. You can probably argue there's one here as well, and that had a similar situation. Nice breakout as well. So yeah, looking at BTC, yes, nice breakout, the consolidation. We did talk about some shorts on a retest, and for the most part we've seen a bit of downside off that, but I'm not convinced for a big sell. And as we do approach 111, I think as long as price action looks good, I think there could be some nice buys back to the high and so on and so forth. So BTC is still very, very bullish. FH, dollar yen, okay, we can take a look at that as well, no problem. So dollar yen, slight uptrend on the 4-hour time frame, very slight uptrend. You got some higher highs and higher lows brewing there. Of course, prices respect to support a bunch there. We've seen price break higher. I'm not quite convinced with this price action. I think long term there is still a lot of downside to be had with dollar yen. I'm looking at major resistance in this area. I'm looking at the 2 lower highs prices formed as well. I do believe price can form a third and start to really tank to the downside off the back of that. So long term, I'm pretty bearish with dollar yen. In the short term, since we have seen somewhat of an uptrend, I do think we can see some buys around here at 146. But also, I quite like the sell-off here as well. Really aggressive sell, bit of like a fake out, if you will, resistance, fakes it to the upside, quick recovery. I do like the possibility of a retest there as well. So looking to short around 149, buy around 146, and then eventually a big sell. So it really depends what happens first. 'Cause I'm not saying price is going to go here, to go there, to go there. It could do, but I'm not necessarily banking on that. Maybe price just kind of continues to the downside from here. Well, if that's the case, I think this is a smart place for a buy around 149, and potentially might see new highs from that. If we do retrace and see a pushback to 149 first, well, there, I think there could be some nice shorts. Of course, if we can see some nice rejection and some entries to justify that, then great. I think there could be a nice short there, followed by some longs later. Longer term, I'm pretty bearish, but that's something we'll probably push aside for another couple of weeks. I don't think that move is quite ready to happen yet. So yeah, it just really depends where dollar yen moves first, whether it's 149 or 146. I think either of that is a very nice opportunity for a buy and for a sell. But yeah, I quite like the sells, especially because of that aggressive move. I'm still favoring a bit more downside for the yen pairs. I'm still favoring a bit more strength for the yen itself. So I think there's some opportunities off the back of that we can look to take advantage of. And of course, depends what USD is going to do. At the moment, DXY is looking pretty weak, so maybe you do still see a bit more downside for USD. No problem, FH, happy to help. I think with DXY looking a little bit weak there, it might give dollar yen a bit more incentive to head a little bit lower first. But yeah, going into the rest of the week, Aussie CHF will be a pair which I take a lot of consideration into. Basically, just waiting for resistance to clear. Then I'll probably find an entry with a stop loss similar to this. I could have it below there. It does skew risk reward quite a lot, but of course that gives me the safest entry. I might go slightly a bit more aggressive and put the stop loss here. Depends on the entry as well, but that's kind of what I'm eyeing up. Pound CHF, I might entertain this one as well. It depends which one sets up first and if it sets up well. But I might look for an entry off the low here, or wait for an entry on a break and then take the entry off the back of that and look for some more upside there. But from a high time frame perspective, we've hit a really big level here for pound CHF, so I am very much looking to buy and expecting a lot more upside. CAD CHF, another one as well, which has just been consolidating. I'm waiting for price to pick up some momentum, but this one's a bit more flat. I prefer kind of Aussie or pound. I think it looks a little bit cleaner. CHF JPY, that's seen some more downside. Again, I'm a bit late to the party for that one, so that's kind of the only reason why I'm not looking to take any entries for Swiss yen, because I feel like the moves are kind of already in full motion now. The other CHF pairs, I think I've still got time to get involved, so I like them a little bit more. Out of the USD pairs, pound USD, I quite like the look of, so still keeping a close eye. This one's starting to push the upside now. Again, I still got a level up there, so it's a part of the plan essentially. I do still want to see some strength there for pound before I short it, for us to at least get into that zone. So I still want to see a bit more upside there for pound. Aussie dollar, we're starting to get into an area which I'm interested in. Seeing some strength here. So it's coming to make or break territories now for a few of these USD pairs, because again, I said at the start of the week, I don't want to see Aussie dollar break back within this channel. If it does that, it does really put me off the trade, and I probably would leave Aussie dollar alone. If, on the other hand, I can see some really healthy rejection here, wicks form, momentum starts to shift, fantastic. I'll be looking to jump into that position, absolutely, and hopefully I can trade it back to these areas, or at least back to that low. So I really like the opportunity in Aussie dollar. I think it's a really good opportunity, especially when we've been ascending for so long. I think we're due that kind of breakout. We're due that momentum. We're kind of been building up for so long. We've had a slight drop there, which indicates some momentum coming to the market, but nothing serious. So I kind of do expect to see that serious momentum come into play. If we just break back inside the channel again, I'm not interested, and I'm going to have to be quite cautious. And of course, Euro USD as well. Spoken a bunch on this one, but this looks like it's starting to break to the upside. I know we've still got 2 hours left before this 4 hour candle does close, so we can't well and truly take that candle for what it is just yet. But if it does break to the upside, well, we've got a lovely area of consolidation just above our heads, and I think that's a great place to be looking to short the market from. So if we do rally, well, 1.17 is where I'm going to put my attention, and hopefully take some shorts off the back of that. And of course, at that point, we're probably going to see the DXY probably push in towards this area, and it is looking pretty bearish at this moment in time. This is the consolidation I've been keeping my eyes on. DXY is looking pretty bearish right now. This candle's about to close in 5 minutes. We'll see how it does close, but to me, looks like the bears are stepping back in. Looks like we've had a big drop here. This was kind of just a sideways situation. Market taking a bit of a breather. Now we might be seeing the continuation of that. I still got this area which I like the buys from, so maybe price is going to be drawn towards that area. Who knows? But I am still looking to buy, but again, just being a bit cautious, especially with the price action we're getting now. No evidence of us breaking higher. And out of the end pairs, the one I like the most would be pound yen. I've got room to trade with. The risk reward looks decent as well. You got price support in this area, which of course will be turned resistance, hopefully. If I can see some rejection there, that'd be great. And then hopefully I can put my stop loss above the highs, and then hopefully then target the lows here. So that really would be the plan there for pound yen. A lot of momentum on the move to the downside. Of course, we just respected the highs to the left there. So to me, that's clear evidence that this momentum has kind of failed. I was actually looking to take the breakout if it did happen and take some buys there. That was really the plan for pound yen, similar to what euro yen did. I was looking to see if we can see a push back to the highs, but that never happened. So now I've kind of switched the bias around. I'm looking to short it. I'm not so keen about a push all the way back to the lows here. That could be the case. I can see a world where that does happen, but I'm not going to necessarily bank on that. I probably, if I do get into short, I'll probably have some targets, but I will trail some of my positions just to see how far I can take it. You never know which trade is going to be a big trade. It could be this one. It has the potential to be this one as well. So if I do get into a trade, I will let some of my positions run, but that is really where the interest lies. Now the end pairs, that's kind of where I draw the line. So pound yen shorts look good. I think maybe in the next coming weeks, some of the buys could look good. Like Aussie yen, for example, or CAD yen. But again, I think that's for the next coming weeks. Some buys around here. Basically looking for the next higher low. There's a high, there's your low, there's your high. Maybe your next low. Maybe it's already printed. But I kind of fancy a bit more downside still. And same thing for CAD yen as well. I feel like longer term, there could be some really nice buys for this one too. Very consistent higher lows. I feel like we could put another one in there and then of course see a rally from there. So maybe the next coming weeks I could be talking about some buys for the yen pairs, but for now I'm still kind of keen on the shorts, and the yen basket for me backs that up as well. I think long term as well, the basket can see some more downside. This is kind of where I'm banking it from, or looking for it to happen. massive support in this area, could turn resistance for a sell. At the moment, we've just seen price consolidate, kind of fake lower, break to the upside. Now I'm looking for a pullback and then some more upside. So the yen strength is kind of where my eggs are right now. And then maybe 2 weeks time, we could talk about some shorts afterwards. But as for now, the yen strength is still very much my expectation. So pound yen shorts hopefully, and then of course New Zealand CAD as well. I mean, it's already Wednesday, so I don't think I'll be getting into some shorts just yet. Looking quite bullish on the day at the moment. Maybe it does develop, maybe it doesn't, but I'm pretty bearish with this one. Just kind of waiting for momentum to pick up and hopefully take some shorts. If you do break back inside the range, well, there's not much for me to do there, to be honest. If that does happen, it happens. Aussie CAD, its partner in crime, is starting to look bullish as well, but I would just argue that that's a bit of a range, so I'm not going to read too much into that. So yeah, very, very flat. And then of course, pound CAD finally. So I've got quite a few pairs I'm keeping an eye on. Pound CAD shorts as well, but I'm probably going to wait for a push to 1.845. So there's quite a few pairs I'll keep an eye on. Quite a few of them though, probably set up maybe towards the end of this week or early next week, so I can kind of be a bit relaxed. Like pound CAD, for example, shorting up there. I think it's very unlikely that price gets there this week, to be honest. Even if it does, probably won't set up in terms of an entry until next week anyway, so I can kind of be a bit relaxed with pound CAD. The ones I have to be quite careful of, because they could get entry pretty quickly, it's probably the CHF pairs. If I see a break of this area, I'll look to take a trade, to be honest. Pound CHF, if I see another push into support here, I'll look to take a trade, or a break of that trend line, I'll look to take a trade. So those two in particular I have to be quite careful of. They could set up pretty quickly. Maybe pound yen to an extent as well, and pound USD to an extent as well. They could give me setups pretty quickly, even today potentially, but probably sometime between today and Friday. And pound USD as well, not too far away from an entry. So those in particular, pound USD shorts, pound yen shorts, Aussie CHF longs, pound CHF longs, are probably the four pairs I'm going to have my attention on the most. All other pairs probably going to take a few days to get ready, at least, potentially more so into next week, so don't have to be too concerned with them. And again, that's the beauty of swing trading as well. Normally you can spot your trades within a few days in advance, or potentially in a few weeks sometimes, so it gives you time to plan, really assess the situation. That's kind of one of the big positives over day trading, is that day trading is kind of here and now. You kind of forecast maybe the start of the day, and then within a couple of hours you're probably taking the trade. Scalping is even a bit more intense than that. With swing trading, you spot the trade maybe at the beginning of the week. You don't even take the trade until the end of the week, or maybe even till the following week as well. So that gives you time to kind of, you know, assess the situation, take emotions away as well, because a lot of time is going to happen, a lot of time is going to pass before you do take the position. So you can kind of look at it with fresh eyes pretty much every day until it forms, and really assess if this trade is worth taking. So that's one of the positives of swing trading, but you know, any positive with swing trading is always a positive with day trading, and vice versa as well. But that's kind of one of the benefits I do like. But anyway, guys, we have come to the end of the stream. If you have enjoyed the stream, please be sure to leave a like. Appreciate that, Poppy. Please remember to leave a like. It does really help out the stream, guys. I do really appreciate that. Thank you to everyone who has liked the stream so far. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you do want to see more of the content. Hit the bell especially, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads, because of course you will be notified. Share the stream with your friends, guys. Any trading buddies, share it with them. Tag them along. Allow them to become part of the gang. If you have enjoyed it, guys, I will be live again tomorrow, same time as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So I do really hope to see all of you there. I think I will be live again with Nick as well, so do keep an eye out for that stream on his channel. But on my channel, we'll be live again, same time as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in. Drop a like before you leave. Have a fantastic day. I'll let you know if I do get in any new positions. But besides from that, guys, have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
Introducing Zenthryx AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zenthryx AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zenthryx. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.